Hey, everybody. Want to welcome you into a special Sunday edition of the Pit Stop Podcast. We are on the road. I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado, taking a little early break or late break, late vacation before we get into full steam racing. This coming weekend, one weekend from right now, is the Boise Roadster Show. That's the unofficial kickoff of all the motorsports events in the Treasure Valley and beyond. So that's coming up. And then we've got a March 15th race event at Meridian Speedway. Take a weekend off to get things ready to roll. And then all of the local tracks, including the Outlaw Kart tracks, are going to be full steam ahead when the month of April hits us here in just a few weeks. So we are ready to roll. Patrick, not with us tonight, but I know he's going to be watching. We snuck this show in. Really met this gentleman we're going to talk to at Meridian and the Motorplex at the Mill last year during some super modified races. And, the show that we're trying to put together is not only something that we want to focus, obviously, the majority of our time on our local drivers and their careers and their families and their goals and how they do every year. But what a lot of the local folks don't know is we'll see some of these names come through town and they're good, they're fast. And then we don't ever, if you're not a follower, like a lot of us of multi-sports, motorsports events, everything from NASCAR to, USAC and everything in between. If you're just kind of the casual short track fan, it's like, whatever happened to that guy? Number one, where did he come from? How did he get a ride? And number two, where did he go? We've had some of those drivers come through. Noah Gregson, who races NASCAR, came through. He is a winner at Meridian Speedway in the NASCAR K&N Series. Todd Gilliland also, just to name a few. Some of our local drivers, Randy Tolsma, Davey Hamilton Jr., those drivers that started here branched out. But tonight we're going to focus on a gentleman that didn't start here, doesn't even have a whole lot of racing here in the Valley or at our local tracks. But once I had the opportunity to interview him at the races for our podcast and our pit reporting on Flow Racing earlier this year, I try to hook up on social media and see, who is he? What does he do? And this guy is busy. So we appreciate him because, when your life is a professional race car driver, obviously finding time to talk to some dummy in Meridian, Idaho is not always easy. We were going to have him on earlier this week, and of course things came up, and I just told Nathan, whatever works. If you're willing to come on and share your story, let's do it. So welcome, Nathan Byrd. Nathan, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate it, Brent, and happy to be on the Pit Stop podcast and support the Race to End Bowling campaign. And yeah, it's just a really good pleasure, and glad we were able to get this organized and sorted out.
Yeah. So first, we saw you last year here at Meridian, Motorplex at the Mill, and I know that Speed Tour Super Modified, you ran it a few times. But before we get to that, where did it come from? Because, I kind of tracked you down on your Facebook page and stuff. This isn't just hey, let's decide to go racing in 2024. Tell us a little bit about the history of bird racing altogether.
Yeah, so bird racing really got started. I'm just an outgrowth of bird racing. I'm just the grassroots. Like, I'm the bird that finally got into racing. That my dad got that started back in 2018 after I just graduated high school. But bird racing goes back far before that, back to my great grandmother Layla. And that was my grandfather's mother, who owned like stock cars in the late 60s, early 70s. And then my grandpa kind of took up the mantle, taking guys like Rich Vogler and Ari Leindyke to the Indy 500, where we got the qualifying, the track record for qualifying in the Indy 500. We've had 22 entries in the Indy 500 since 1985, with a plethora of drivers, including the late Brian Clausen, who was like a short track legend on the dirt side of things. That was my dad's and my dad and my uncle's doing and getting him to the Indy 500. James Davison, the last entry for us in 2020, the COVID year where no one got to be there. I was actually there at the race. I was going to be the flag man that like on the actual pit crew, and I never actually got to do the job. I got a couple practice runs, but I never got to do the job because the right front wheel just exploded, and that was on TV. So we got a little bit of TV time. But yeah, besides that, the goal is for me to be the 23rd entry in the Indy 500, be a bird that's actually in the 500, not just on the side of the car. And yeah, so that's kind of where we got our start. And bird racing's had our hands in a lot of different racing, short track world, and Indy 500, IndyCar world, and now through me in the world of all kinds of racing, including super modified racing.
Right. So what did you start in? Where did, when you became old enough? I mean, obviously the interest, like a lot of us watching and on here tonight, the passion is in your blood. But when did you first get an opportunity to jump behind the wheel and get a taste of it?
Yeah, so it was interesting because the passion was actually not in my blood at
Oh,
all,
really?
like growing up. And racing was just not something I thought about. I was more interested in just doing good in school, doing my high school sports, and getting good grades, and
Right.
just eventually working for the family business. That was the original plan when I when I graduated high school in 2018. And that same summer, my dad proposed the idea of me racing, and he laid out a 6-year plan from go karts to the Indy 500. And basically, I just said, "Okay, like I think I'd be dumb if I didn't take up this opportunity, so I'm going to go for it." I'm in like high school athlete. I was planning on doing actual competitive cheer at Grand Canyon University, and I was on my way to doing that, but my dad had other plans, and I was like, "Hey, I mean, this one's guaranteed like opportunity." So we went ahead and did that, and as soon as I said yes, 2 weeks later, I was in my first go kart race, and I finished dead last. He finished first in his division. We were actually on track in the same race because he was in the Masters division, I was in the senior division. We just shared the track at the same time. It
Right.
was funny because he had actual go kart experience like growing up, and I had nothing. So he finished first in his division, and I finished last in my division, and that was the way we started things. But eventually, I got a little bit better, and I was able to win some races, win a couple go kart championships for my local track, and over the course of 2 years, and then I progressed into the Lucas Oil Formula Car Series, which is this open wheel Formula Car school series, very low level, just like very little horsepower, no wings, no downforce, nothing like a super modified, and just to get your feet wet. And it's a school series. If you make contact with each other, you're going to be put in the penalty box. And it's just to learn. So that was 2020, and I just kept on. I could go on. 2021, we went to the Skip Barber F4 series, and we expanded from like 3 different cars. I think I just got a little bit of short track dabbling at the end of 2020, doing some midget racing stuff, Kenyan midget, Focus midget, full size champion midget at IRP. And then 2021, the schedule kind of exploded. We did 108 races across 18 different disciplines between Formula car racing, touring car, sports car, pro late model, modified, midget, and silver crown, focus midget, canyon. Like we just did it all. Like, and we didn't quite get in the super modified, and sprint car came later. But yeah, we just kept on doing more and more things just to like. I mean, I started when I was 18. I gotta catch up. I gotta get seat time.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. Just guys, get as much seat time as possible. And now we're in the phase where we've transitioned into a higher quality of racing, like more professional series.
Right.
Less overall racing because I was racing like 3 different series or divisions on the same weekend, getting like 10 to 12 races in like the same 3-day span. Like on like SVRA weekends between a Porsche and a super awesome Formula car called the S5000 car that we like shipped over here from Australia, shipped back to Australia. Just like doing those 2 things and like running in all these different series and divisions just to get as much seat time as possible. And now we're on our way to getting more and more professional experience.
Right. And for everybody that's watching, people are piling on here. Don't forget, you can comment, ask Nathan some questions. Just let us know what you're thinking out there, just like our normal weekday show. We want, if you got something to say, let us hear it. We'll throw it on here if we have time. So, like, I mean, what really caught my eye after I saw you out here at Meridian is, I looked at some of your social media and stuff, and like, I mean, like the sports car stuff. It's like, wait a minute, is this the same guy that, was strapping into that Jim Burgess super mod? But something like that. I mean, for like the guys and gals that are, trying to come up in racing. I mean, what is that like? I mean, it seems like you have to have a lot of control, and I mean, is that something that you can, take forward and into what you're doing here in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think all of my seat time, all of my like racing experience, maybe besides dirt, but I was still able to categorize dirt into like the experience I gotten before. Once I got a bit more experience, like, oh, like dirt is just this, and that in the world of pavement racing. So I just broke it down so that like the racing really just the driving technique kind of translates across everything. I mean, you're just trying to perceive the limit and drive the car at the limit. And it's just a matter of what car are you in, what is the limit of that car, one, and how comfortable am I at extracting the car at the limit and getting everything I can out of the car. Obviously, when you jump into a super modified, the limit's like very high, so you have to be very comfortable. But I also came from formula cars, which are also fairly good at cornering. I also had the short track experience before I stepped in the super modifieds, for example, between the midgets, the Silver Crown, and the sprint car. So I got the high horsepower stuff, low weight, and I also got the Formula car stuff. And like the super modified is basically like if a sprint car and a Formula car had a baby, that's what a super modified is.
Right.
And so I kind of had like both of those worlds. It's just a matter of when you get into the new car, how do you navigate like learning the car? You have to figure out what the car is capable of doing, and then once you figure that out, which can take some people a while, like it takes me a while. I don't just hop in a car and just instantly like I'm like qualifying pole or like 2/10 off the pole. It takes time. It takes iterations. It takes mistakes. I've made a few mistakes at Oswego Speedway, and those are learning lessons that I'm learning those same lessons in the world of NASCAR, and it's just every single time you get a new car, it's a new learning curve, and you think you have everything figured out, but you don't.
Right. So super mods. I mean, that's what, up here in the Northwest, and I know on the East Coast, we really, the track promoters here at Meridian and Magic Valley, along with the folks with the Speed Tour, Mark and all of those guys have been really trying to revamp the super mods. Jim Burgess, super modified legend. Tell us a little bit of how you guys got hooked up and how many races you ran and what that was like last year. I know you got to do a few anyway, right?
Yeah, so we definitely got a few races in last year, and the Jim Burgess connection mainly came through my dad. I'm not exactly sure. My dad's told me he's like the connection man. He like knows everyone somehow, some way. But he just got in contact with Jim because he's always looking for like new rides that I can get in, especially in that 2021 through 2024 phase. He's always looking to just be in, like, that's the whole Bird Racing. The Bird Racing logo, like slogan, is be interesting, do interesting. So he's always trying to get me to be a more diverse, interesting race car driver. And if I was by myself, I wouldn't be able to do a quarter of the things that I'm able to do. But because my dad has that passion and he's moving things forward, and he has the connections too, he's making those connections work. And so we got in contact with Jim because like who has a customer car super modified? Like that's essentially what we're looking for. And so that's kind of like the question, like who is a customer car modified, midget, sprint car, like all that stuff. And like, who can we work with? Like, because we don't want to own the car. We don't want to work on the car. We don't want to transport the car. If I did that with the 40 different types of cars I've raced so far in my career, that's just impossible. So
it's crazy.
You have to be able to work with people that already have the connections. So Jim was one of those guys. And I was excited to work with him because like, obviously he's a legend in the scene. So, and he has had a lot of success, and he's still having success. Some of the races I had with him, he was in a really good car that was like very competitive. And so we did, I don't know the exact number of races, maybe like 5 races. I got my first ever short track win with Jim and the in the black, I forget the Hyder. The Hyder, is it that?
Hyder. It's the Hyder.
Yeah. So in the Hyder, that was my first ever like professional short track win. That was like a big moment for me, and I got that at Shasta Speedway. And that was right before Emmett Motorplex, and Emmett Motorplex, like Motorplex at the Mill, is an awesome track. I got the track record. I have like the overall like track record for that track. It's just an awesome like smooth track. Of course, you're gonna get the track record when you're like newly repaid and all that stuff. But
brand new.
That was really cool, and I was able to do that with Jim. And share those moments with him and get to know his wife Holly and the whole crew. So it was a lot of fun, and
so you got to run that a little bit. So take us now. I mean, sounds like you've got some amazing opportunities already this year. 2025 is rolling. Tell us a little bit about the series, the classes, and what you've done already, because it's pretty cool to see. Because you're talking. This is like a 6 or 7 year jump in a car, and here you are, right? So what's next? Where are you at this year? What's going on?
So last year was the very beginning of my NASCAR career. So I made my NASCAR Xfinity debut at Portland International Raceway, and then I made my NASCAR truck debut at Kansas Motor Speedway after I'd already driven the New Hampshire in the Xfinity car as well. So I believe I had 5 total races in the NASCAR world, just finally getting my feet wet in the stock car racing, just trying to get the name out there and learn another discipline, go through another learning curve. Why not? And and get that professional experience as well. Cause like, I mean, those guys are hard to race against. Those guys are really, really good. So I can get better if I race against those guys. And so this year we've made an even bigger commitment in the NASCAR world, and we've committed to 15 of the 25 NASCAR truck races. And that's a significant portion of the schedule. We heavily focus it on the high speed ovals. And even though I'm a technical road course guy, I mean,
Right.
like, why don't you just get in the road course car, like in the truck at like Lime Rock or Watkins Glen? It's like, well, and then just show everyone what you're made of. It's like, well, it doesn't really work like that exactly, because it's still a car I have to get comfortable with and like actually learn how to drive properly. I know how to drive road courses, but if I can't drive the car well, then I'm not going to instantly become awesome. So there's still a learning curve there. And also I already have a lot of road course experience, but what do I not have experience in? High speed ovals. So and obviously like Indy 500 is one of the things I want to do. So if I can get high speed oval experience through the world of NASCAR, then that just enables Indy 500 to be even more likely, hopefully in the next couple of years. I'm not trying to put an exact timeline on it, but it's God's plan, whatever he decides and whenever his timing's right. But yeah, that's the plans for this year. We're doing a lot more NASCAR and doing a lot of short track racing as well as sprint car, midget, Silver Crown, and no super modified racing as of right now, but always open. Like if Jim gets better, he's recently had a accident in the motorcycle. So if like as Jim gets better and better and heals up, praying for him, hopefully some opportunities potentially down the line come up.
Right. Yeah, Jim. I think Jim has to go to the emergency room at least once every year, or else he doesn't feel like he's he's keeping up his end of the bargain. But
Exactly.
but yeah, I've been noticed. Looks like him and Holly, they've got him back up and moving and headed in the right direction. Tell us a little bit. We've had some drivers here locally that've done kind of the USAC stuff. What's your experience in that? I know I've seen a lot of the videos and stuff. Is that something you guys are gonna try to do a little bit this year too?
So are you talking USAC dirt, or because the only USAC I do right now is USAC Silver Crown?
The Silver Crown,
pavement.
Yeah, the pavement series. We've had a couple of Meridian guys, Mike McGurdio, Tony Ackland. Some of those guys have dipped their feet in that. It's been years ago. Is that still a pretty busy schedule for that series? Because a lot of us local, when we don't have our local guys there, we kind of lose track. How is it still rolling back there?
Yeah, I think the dirt and pavement side of things is going well. I know in recent years, the development has kind of been like, hey, we want to bring Silver Crown back to the bigger tracks, the bigger ovals, like the Milwaukee's and like the bigger miles. Like we got Gateway, but like, what about Milwaukee? What about this one? What about that one? And because it's Silver, like my dad's a firm believer, like Silver Crown cars deserve, and a lot of people believe this, that Silver Crown cars deserve to be on big tracks. We have giant fuel tanks for a reason. Let's get all the mileage out of them we can. And so that's been something that we've seen a little bit of development and progress on, racing at Gateway the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But and I think we're also racing at Salem Speedway, which is I mean, for the speeds that you're racing, because we already raced Winchester the last couple of years, but now I think we're doing Salem as well. And that's going to be very awesome because Salem's an awesome track. It's really, really fast. And it's effectively if you have this much banking, like it's effectively like a mile track in speed sense, sense. So so that's really cool. So I think Silver Crown's making good progress in that sense. And it's a good series. It's a competitive series. It's definitely not easy to win. I haven't got my win in a Silver Crown yet, but obviously I'm going to be hunting that down with the Meyer Auto Research. I'm doing a Silver Crown and sprint car with what used to be Legacy Autosport with the Meyer family, and now they're Meyer Auto Research. So going to be doing that with them this year, and I'm really excited for that.
Right. Okay. And then the Craftsman truck stuff. I mean, that's got to be not only just in your development, but I mean, in your steps and your goals to be moving up. I mean, you guys are at some of these racetracks with the NASCAR teams and all of that. Like you said, your dad and the connections. That's got to be a heck of a group to make some more connections in, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of help with the agency that I work with. They have all the NASCAR connections, Motorsports Management International. So we've been able to get a lot of help since my dad's in the big short track, the IndyCar world, but he didn't really know the NASCAR world. So we need help on that side of things, and we've been able to make some good connections there. And this year it's with Young's Motorsports and the NASCAR truck, and I think we have a really solid truck. Some rule changes came in that hurt the top teams and helped the Young's Motorsports teams, and now things are
Right.
much more competitive, a little bit more compressed, and I feel really confident about the truck. I'm a little less confident on my ability to drive the truck properly. Like we were talking, there's a learning curve there, and
Right.
I made a mistake recently at Atlanta Motor Speedway that I took responsibility for, but it's just a learning curve, and Daytona unfortunately got taken out before we could take the checkered flag. But
Right.
I mean, at Daytona, if you finish the race, you finish top 10. So that's what we're aiming to do. But unfortunately, got
Yeah.
taken out. But yeah, and NASCAR trucks is just a whole nother world. It's high speed. It's high speed ovals. Exactly what I asked for, and I'm getting a good lesson. So in that transition, so it's been fun. It's encouraging seeing like the progress I've made so far. But I know, given the mistakes I've had and the things I see other guys doing, I know that there's a lot more to get to. And
Right.
yeah, if I can be aiming, and now this is my personal goal for the year, if I can be competing, like starting out, like just to finish like top 20s, like let's just get some solid top 20 finishes in. That's how good the car is. With me driving it, so let's say, and then let's work towards, like, I want to see for myself, like close, like working towards top 15 finishes, maybe even bumping on the door of top 10s by the end of the year, which I think would be an awesome result for the team and for myself. And just kind of put my stamp in the NASCAR world as like a competent driver that is hireable and all those things. It's just it all builds on each other, and I'm really excited to get the experience to do that.
Right. So obviously, as you grow and as you branch out, it's not, and I've seen a lot of stuff on your social media. Tell us a little bit about, I mean, community outreach, community involvement. I mean, a lot of these younger kids coming up, I think it's really important that they understand that it's not just strapping into a truck and winning a race or finishing good. You got people looking up to you. You've got to reach out to do that. So what are some of the things, I saw you racing on some ice on Facebook. So what are some of the community type things that you and the team are trying to do to be out there?
Yeah, and I had like what you mentioned, I had an appearance at the Indy Fuel, the hockey game, in at the Fishers Event Center in the northern Indianapolis area, and that was a lot of fun because I mean it was also like last minute. I'm one of the drivers in the 500 Sprint Car Tour within the Sprint Car Series, and the 500 Sprint Car Tour wanted me to help represent them and be at the Indy Fuel game and like sign some autograph cards. I just brought the leftovers I had from my NASCAR truck stuff and Xfinity stuff from last year, and I just brought the leftovers, and the fans loved it. I think that there's definitely a fan crossover between like racing fans and sports fans. I mean, it's sports, so traditional sports,
Right.
and so that was a fun opportunity to be able to like throw some t-shirts out at the crowd. I got a little bit back into my dirt. I thought I wouldn't get back to dirt this soon, but like this low grip environment, but I was on the ice, and that was like, oh wow, this is like kind of like dirt racing. We had to track the level of grip, and when you're pedaling the tricycle, you have to start slow, get the momentum building, and then you can start pedaling faster. And so that was pretty fun, just being able to do that. And I was on a team with high schoolers, and I was racing against the race car drivers. And of course the race car drivers were cheating because that's what they always do. I mean, if they can get away with it, they will. So that's what they were doing. And yeah, Nitro, the mascot, was doing their best that he could to keep them from winning, but it wasn't enough. But yeah, it's like things like that. It's really important to engage. And I was just blessed to have that opportunity just all of a sudden. I had off weekend this weekend. And but doing things like that, like, I mean, NASCAR provides certain opportunities like that, doing the autograph sessions and things like that. So just trying to capitalize with social media. My wife, Victoria, after my race, after our interview at the Motorplex, was it, or Meridian?
Meridian, yeah.
Not long thereafter, me and her got married. So, and she's been a blessing, and it's been awesome to appreciate that. And she's been helping with social media a lot, and like we're a good team. So, and that's just really been good, and that helps with the outreach as well. People are reaching out to me on Instagram asking for hero cards and things like that, and I just want to be able to interact with the fans and give a good example for the generation coming up.
Right, because I think that's we've had a couple promoters and stuff at tracks here, and that's what we try to teach the young kids and the bandoleros and the legends. It's like, you got to give a speech, you got to jump on and give an interview, because when everybody starts, they've got those goals of where to get to, and I think it's a good mesh of the public relations, and then on Saturday, Sunday, you can go in there and do your racing, right? Keep it going.
Yeah, exactly.
So who's been helping you? I know it's you've had a lot packed into a few years here. Some of the teams, some of the people, that have stepped up to get you where you're at. Who are some of those important people that you'd like to talk about here?
Yeah, there's the most important people. I mean, you can't really name them explicitly because like
Right.
I've been involved with so many teams during the course of my development as a driver. First in
Mhm.
my learning, my school years, my amateur years, and now in my professional years. I'm learning less in terms of like a driver coaching, like things like that perspective. Although like right now in the NASCAR truck world, Stephen Parsons, my teammate for some of the races coming up with Young's Motorsports, he has some NASCAR experience. He's had some time in Xfinity and trucks, and he's been really helpful in my like he's kind of like the integral like kind of coach guy right now for me in the NASCAR truck world, just to help me make less mistakes and like just learn from his lessons. And but
Right.
before that, I mean, there's just the world of like every single discipline, like like modified, prolate, like modified, Jimmy Dickerson, Dave Arcee, like those guys, like prolate model, J.R. Courage, James Edwards, like with when I was doing my Rick Ware Racing like development driver days in
Right.
2021, like even like dirt midget racing with Corey Cruzman, like just doing the West Coast tour and then Chili Bowl. Like things like just there's every single all my instructors from the Skip Barber Academy. Back in my Skip Barber at 4 days, Ken
Right.
Fukuda, Carter Fordick. I'm James Davison. He's the driver that we took to Indy 500 and supported in his NASCAR Cup Series as well. And he was supporting me and coaching me throughout 2020 all the way through like 2023, 2024. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, obviously, like the Byrd Racing team, which was primarily I can't forget the Arrive Drive Motorsports guys, which is the people we did Arrive Drive. It's what it sounds like, Arrive and Drive. We did it with
Right.
them in like the Formula car world between like F2000, F1000, the S5000 car that we brought from Australia. Got a bunch of seat time through them and through their hard work. Dustin Hodges and Jerry Hodges are the two main guys there, and father son duo and running that company. And they also did a lot of my Porsche racing. So I brought the Porsche under house and did a bunch of racing with that, the GT3 stuff and World Racing. Like, I mean, there's always teams that I've
Everybody.
ran with that like I'm always asking questions. There's always someone there to answer a question that's very helpful, that's very knowledgeable, and I'm not afraid to just walk up to them and just start asking questions. And I'm just no question's a dumb question in my mind. So
Yep.
the Byrd, like my dad, David Byrd, he's obviously like probably like the most crucial cog in the wheel and getting all this stuff done. He's my travel agent. He's the the PR publicist guy. But Kristen T, she's been with Byrd Racing for a long time. She's the vice president of Byrd Racing, and she helps make all the partner deals on the back end with the family businesses to make things make sense financially and like just help our partners work together and collaborate and our partner network. And yeah, the MMI guys, Philip Smalley, and those guys who do a lot of work in getting me connected to the NASCAR world. So
Right.
I could go on and on. It's
Sure.
hard to remember like Jim in the super modified world, Tim Bertrand in the midgets, and now
Right.
I'm going to do the all-star. I'm going to be doing the all-star focus midgets as well. Obviously Mike Meyer and Butch Meyer from Legacy, who
Mhm.
I'm doing the Silver Crown sprint car stuff with. There's infinite names I could mention, and they all deserve credit and getting me where I am now.
Right. So we got this gentleman, Mike Yates. He says that you're a hell of a remote sim coach too. So tell us a little bit about that. What's Mike talking about there?
Yeah, Mike's a good friend. He's actually going to be helping Arrive Drive Motorsports fairly soon, just like wrenching on cars. He wants to get into Formula V stuff. And
Mhm.
but at first he's doing a lot of simulator racing. He's obsessed with simulator racing. I know Mike's a man on a mission when it comes to the simulator world, and he wanted me to help coach him. So
Right.
yeah, Mike's a good friend, and yeah, I've been coaching him up the last few weeks here, and he's just making awesome improvements. Most of it's just because he's racing a lot. So it's just a seat time. If you want to get better, got to get seat time, even if it's in sim world.
Right. So kind of wrap you up a little bit. And I know, like, again, we appreciate you coming on, but for these young kids coming up, whether they're starting when they're 18 or they're starting when they're 8, like a lot of them are now, just a little advice. I mean, what is, what do you feel has gotten you to where you're at here and beyond, that maybe some of these young kids at Meridian or Emmett or down at Shasta that could maybe learn from somebody that's taken those steps? What would your
Yeah,
advice be?
I think the biggest factor is Well, one, the reason why the primary reason why I've gotten to where I am right now isn't because I'm the most talented race car driver in the world. I'm like, I can hop in anything and like I'm instantly good. Like, no, it's a matter of seat time. It's a matter of I was able to get the opportunity. My family's business, we've been blessed enough to be able to have the financial resources to go racing and not start like and be able to do the go-kart transition and then move into Formula cars and race cars and make that transition and like it not be in financial funding being a limiting step. And I know that's the major thing for a lot of guys. The best race car driver in the world probably never got past bandoleros or go-karts, whatever take your pick, and or their dirt track quarter midgets. But if you want to be successful in racing in whatever category you're in, even if you never get past go-karts and you really love racing and you want to do racing, the only way to get better is through seat time. And whatever you can do to responsibly fund and empower your racing and take advantage of those opportunities, I would say go for it. Probably is not a good idea to mortgage your house to go on a race, because people don't understand the amount of commitment financially you have to have in order to get to the very, very top. There's very few guys. Back in the day, there used to be an opportunity where you could just there was so much money flowing into racing that the most talented guys just rose to the very top. They just got the opportunities. It's not like that anymore. The world of motorsports has changed, and it's not exactly a meritocracy. It's not necessarily what people like to hear, but I can only speak the truth as far as I know it. And but you can definitely become a better race car driver. Just if you're doing bandoleros, you have to get the seat time. You have to put the work in as a driver. And obviously when it comes to the sponsorship and things like that, you have to have a value proposition for the people you're working with and the people that you want to put on the side of your car. So in my experience, the best way to do that is through business to business interactions. Fund your racing through your hard work in a business environment, and then you can make those connections and you can move forward with your racing as things permit.
Right. Sweet. So lots of races on the schedule this year, right? I mean, sounds like you've got from here on out, you're going to be jumping around doing a little bit of everything. So how many do you think? Do you have any idea?
I don't know what the number is going to come out to, but I mean, like sometimes like it's really nice doing some NASCAR truck racing because we can do show up to a Formula car like race weekend on Thursday, fly to the NASCAR truck race. That's a one-day event on like Thursday night and be there for Friday. And then fly back Friday night to go back to the Formula car racing Saturday, Sunday. And you can also do that in the short track world too, where it's like a Friday race for NASCAR, but I'm doing a Saturday or Sunday race in the short track Silver Crown Sprint Car Midget. So we were able to get more than just one race per weekend, which is awesome. My dad's always looking for opportunities to do that. That's to be interesting, do interesting. But yeah, so as far as I know, it's starting in like, let's just say, I guess this coming weekend. I really have like maybe 3 off weekends until November. So whatever that math plays out to, it's going to be probably somewhere in the ballpark of like 40 to 50 races. But then again, we started trading a quantity of racing for higher quality and the bigger dollar racing like NASCAR trucks. And it's just the natural progression. I don't need as much seat time because I've already learned most of the things I need to know. And now I just need to get the seat time and the things that I need to really progress in.
Awesome. Well, I know you said Victoria is helping with your social media. Where can some of the folks find you out and about? Because hopefully we're going to get you a few new West Coast fans that want to see what's going on back there. What are the best places to find your social media stuff?
Yeah, I would appreciate anyone watching to go ahead and check me out on. It's at Nathan J. Byrd on literally every single social media: YouTube, Instagram, X, Twitter, old Twitter, Facebook. It's at Nathan J. Byrd at everything. And TikTok as well. I'm trying to get back into TikTok a little bit, but my wife's really helping me with Instagram. And then you can follow all my racing basically through those mediums. Bird Racing is a good page to follow as well. That's what my dad works on that, and he's always posting things and keeping people updated on what we're doing. Awesome.
Well, like I said, man, I appreciated. We loved watching you when you were out here at Meridian and Emmett. We got a chance to watch both of those, and I appreciate you making some time to come on. I just really want some of the folks that watched you that that are seeing what's going on. Where do you go from here? And we'd love to touch base with you later on in the year and see how things have progressed.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate it, Brent, and thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a pleasure talking with you, and hopefully we'll get to talk soon, and maybe even see you at Emmett or Meridian or somewhere, some short track soon.
Okay, sounds good, Nathan. You guys finish up that off weekend and get some rest, and good luck the rest of the year.
Yep, sounds good. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone
Okay,
for tuning in.
thanks, man. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
All right, so Nathan Byrd joining us, and again, I appreciate him coming on. Just an opportunity for you guys to see, what else is out there, where these guys and gals can go, and the hard work it takes. I think a lot of the young kids, are learning and trying to figure out, how do I become the next Brian Wharf or the next Nathan Byrd or the next Jeff Gordon or whatever steps you want to take or the goals you have. Definitely that gentleman. Sounds like he's doing it the right way. He's got the good support, and might be seeing him rip around in an IndyCar at Indianapolis. And we'll definitely try to keep touch with Nathan and see how his season goes. Patrick and I really want to, be a part of all of the racing that comes through these racetracks, and that's our goal with the show. And like we always say, is tell us who you want, what you want, and it doesn't have to be a guy that's won 25 championships. It could be somebody that's just trying to go around in circles and make get that adrenaline rush and make a name for themselves. We do want to thank all the sponsors that were rolling across the bottom of the screen throughout Nathan's interview. And definitely go onto our YouTube page. We got to have some people. We've been throwing the barcode and the link that's right here on the page out. We really, really want to get that YouTube page up and running. So if you guys, some of Nathan's fans and group were in here, go in there and like and subscribe. That's the big thing. We just need you guys to actually subscribe to it. The higher we get in the algorithms so that people can search these videos. We've got about 120 videos on our YouTube page. So go over there and look. Every time we do an interview in the pits at Meridian, we download it. Obviously, all the live shows Patrick and I do are on here each and every week, and a little bit in between. We've been doing some with our Speedcast.tv Flow Racing. We put some highlights and race film on there as well. So please go like the YouTube page, subscribe to it. Same on Facebook. Trying to do the Instagram too. Our last show went up live on Instagram. This one I'm doing on the phone, so I couldn't get this one on, but we'll make sure to get those up there as well. And if you guys had any questions, comments, just send us a message. Tell us what you want to see, who you want to see, or what you want us to do. We're both pretty passionate, pretty easygoing, want to get this thing up and rolling. But along with Performance Science and Graphics, Scent Savvy, Idaho CDL Training, Western Cargo Services, those folks have helped us out. Overturf Photography, some of the best souvenir stuff that you can find. Overturf puts out there blankets, trinkets, cars, pictures, posters, banners, the whole thing. Mary and Jerry do a heck of a job, and they've stepped up to help us, and we appreciate that. I know that they put out some pretty cool stuff here just lately to some of our racing families that have been going through a rough time, and their heart is in the right place, and we love having them a part of the show. And then, of course, Raced In Bowling, Natalie Waters and the crew, the whole Waters Racing crew, the Raced In Bowling, a huge, huge program. And I know that when she gets back to Utah after her Florida trip, they'll be doing some stuff at schools, and it's a great program. Go on, log on, take a look at it on the internet or on their page, the Nat Attack page. I know we do want to congratulate all of our local drivers that were down at Havasu. We're going to talk to Austin Murphy and some of those drivers here in the coming weeks about their trip as we get ready for a local season. Natalie Waters, Mike and Trevor Anderson, Aaron Willison, some great sprint car racing the last couple of nights. You can go to the Northwest Sprint Tour page. They were doing some great live video for those of us that couldn't make it down there. So go down there and take a look at that, see what those drivers did. And when you see them back home, wherever that is for you guys, congratulate them. Tell them good job. We love seeing our drivers spread out. So we appreciate you guys joining us just for a few minutes here on a Sunday. This coming week, the Boise Roadster Show. I'm out of town. We're in Colorado right now. Be flying in Wednesday night. Thursday is set up for the Idaho Historical Racing Society booth and the Meridian Speedway booth for the Boise Roadster Show. We might try to squeeze 20, 30 minutes in live from the Roadster Show throughout the weekend. And then the following week, Patrick and I are going to hook up on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, it is a pit stop podcast presented by the Race to End Bullying. So send us some guest options or people that you'd like to see on here. And we appreciate it. So for Nathan Byrd and the Byrd Racing crew, thank you guys for coming on. That was a cool little interview that just in the back of my brain since last August, I thought that would be a good one to have on the show. And I appreciate him taking one of his few weekends off, one of 3 weekends off between now and November, to spend about a half hour with us here. So follow him on the Byrd Racing page, Instagram, YouTube. They've got a lot of cool stuff out there, and you can see the outreach and the things that they do in the community, as well as the results of their racing. NASCAR trucks looks to be his main goal this year. I think you're going to see that guy rolling in an Indy car, and it's going to be pretty cool that he rolled through Meridian Speedway in his journey to get there, like many other drivers have. So Patrick is out. He'll be back with us next week. And then again, I said the following week after, every Wednesday, Pit Stop Podcast brought to you by the Race Day and Bowling, with some featured race replays from Overturf Photography. And again, thanks to Nathan Byrd. And I know Victoria put a bunch of our links and stuff out on all of their social media. So hopefully we got some folks back there watching. And if you did watch, just go to the YouTube page, like, subscribe, and take a look and see what you like. And myself and Patrick, we will be back here live for the full show in about a week and a half. But we'll try to touch base with him and I from the Boise Roadster Show. We'll just do 3 or 4 little shorts and see if there's some of the big names down there we can get. If you're in the Treasure Valley, Boise Roadster Show, the new family, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, get on down there, check out the Idaho Historical Racing trailer. It's going to be set right outside the main doors. Stop and talk to all of us that are there about the goal of that organization. We've got some cool new stuff built in that trailer. Take a look at the wrap if you didn't have an opportunity to see it, and then make your way on into all the cool cars. And don't forget to stop in the back corner and talk to us at Meridian Speedway 2025. Schedule going to be ready to roll. We're going to have some cool race cars out there as well. So for all of us here at the Pit Stop Podcast, brought to you by the Race 10 Bowling, thanks for joining us on a Sunday night, and we will see you later this week live from the Boise Roadster Show. Good night, everybody.